I'm going to tell the men that I think we should head in a different direction.
Okay. Yeah,
Try
well,
to,
yeah,
try to.
I got to remember, I'm sorry, this had nothing to do with you, that when recording, um, yeah, when recording the Discord, um, I can't switch to Discord to check it because then it turns off the recording. So that's something else I'll have to remember not to do is that once we're on here, I'm not going to switch out of here because it turns off the the Xbox recording. I got to find a different mode of doing that. Either that or just, stay locked into using the voice on Roll20 and any other thing. So anyway, that has nothing to do with you. All right, so
I think
all right, so we're gonna go. So you lost one of your men. All right, you have somehow survived the attack. Your men have not fared, or all of your men have not fared so well. Um, you're still a few miles away from the camp of the bear picks, and you are now too few. All right. Well, yeah, you're kind of stretched now as far as carrying all of the packs and stuff. I mean, because one of the bigger guys was the guy that got killed, and the other guy is just not as suited for carrying one of the packs, and you're not going to hinder yourself down with carrying the pack. So what do you want to do at this point? I mean, you have the three large chests that the guys were hauling. You now have only, yourself and four minions. All right, and you know, the one chest is too big for the other two minions to actually carry.
there any way I can split them up, and split up what's inside of it?
Well, yeah, I mean, you have no idea what's even inside of them, so yeah, you could start looking to see, well, listen, we'll take a look at what's in there and see what needs to be, you know, maybe lighten the load a bit. So, all right, well, your first thing now is to make a command or a persuade roll because just like your first inclination was to, you know, maybe we'll find a different route or whatever. Like some of like at least one of your minions is like, we should just turn back. There's obviously a different tribe of Picts here, and we're not guaranteed safe passage. We should go back. So you can make a command or a you know a
Do a command.
it's command or persuade. They're both the same. Um,
Oops, did it wrong.
all right, so
Hold
yeah,
on.
you're not able to convince him to stay.
Oh no, it didn't. It didn't work.
Oh, you didn't roll?
Yeah, I rolled it wrong. Here we go.
Oh,
There we go.
and
One.
yeah, one success. All right. Um, well, under command and persuade. All right, so you had no focus in those, so you didn't gain a momentum. Although, well, yeah, you didn't gain a momentum. So, but it's still a success. All right, so you did manage to, he does stay, um, and so you can move forward, or they're going
Okay.
to follow whatever you tell them to do.
Go ahead.
So you begin looking through the cargo, correct?
Yes.
All right, so you begin looking through the cargo, which you were not previously privy to do what its um, to know what its contents were. You sift through looking to find what can be carried easily and what is likely valuable enough to appease the Picts that are at least, you know, that are the least brought, that you at least brought, could bring there. Um, I typoed that, sorry. Yes, there's some gold and some silver trinkets in there. There's fur pelt of animals of the north and the bone, which is the heaviest stuff. The bone from there's whale bone and what you think is probably a walrus bone. In one of the longer, thinner crates, wrapped in furs, is a single ornately carved spear.
A spear.
Yeah, it's a single ornately carved spear. The spear is carved with images and rune script um, that you really don't immediately recognize.
I'm gonna show it to to one of the others and ask him if he's seen it at all.
No, you can make a lore check. Yeah, so you need a 10 and you have a 2 focus and lore. Oh, so you got one success. All right. The only impression that you really get is that all of the rest of the stuff is kind of junk, and the true item that you're probably carrying is that spear.
Okay. I'm gonna suggest to drop all the whale bones and all the pretty much everything except for the spear, and
Okay.
just
Yeah,
have
and
somebody
and they're certainly
use the
willing to
spear.
do that. I mean, you know they're like, all right, thankfully, hopefully the spear is what they're really looking for, and so you're going to push on ahead. So pushing ahead, you make it to where the map indicates the encampment should be. It is in fact here, and you walk in on a scene of sheer nightmare. A bloody massacre. Picks wearing the scraps of bear pelts, claws, and even heads are scattered about, bloodied, pilloried with arrows, spear thrusts, or with slashed throats. But the most gruesome are those whose bodies are bloated as if by massive swelling, or those that are crushed and twisted, but are all but all are purple in hue, as if their blood is no longer contained within the veins, but instead pooled in a soft pouch that was once bodies with form and structure. and then you see it. In the center of the village, a giant serpent with an obviously swollen belly holding what must be the body of a full-grown man. All right. So just seeing this giant snake, all right, is going to kind of shock everybody. And let's see. Just give me one more second. All right. So that
Be a reaction.
yeah, it's mental. It's mental damage. All right. So you're each going to take 2 points of mental damage.
I see.
And once I find the effects of it, the attack also does intense, and see, they should have this, the effects on, so intense. These attacks are designed to inflict massive harm on the target, incapacitating them for far more swiftly. If an intense attack inflicts one or more harm upon the target, then it inflicts one additional harm. So you're each going to take four stress damage. So your mental resolve. All right, so four resolved. All right, you had a total of 11. So you now have 7 resolve remaining. All of your minions, however, are just like stunned in place. Not so much like a hypnotism type thing. They're just like in like a dreadful fear, and just standing there. All right, what are you going to do after the initial shock?
Well,
Now the snake doesn't make any move towards you. I mean, it's just staring at you. And you could see its body is like working undulating and working that body down, you know, that body down deeper into itself.
I think I'm gonna rush over to the snake and try to cut it open to see what it's eating.
All right, so you start approaching the, snake. You start, running at it. What do you have? Like, what are you carrying?
I'm carrying my battle axe, and that's it.
Who had the spear?
Well, well, one of the men was carrying a crate, right?
Well, the spear wouldn't have to be carried in the crate anymore.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I thought one of the men was carrying the spear.
All right. All right. So one of the men is carrying the spear. All right. So you're gonna. All right. So you charge in on the snake. All right. And before you got there, the snake hisses, but the hiss is not like anything like you were expecting. All right, let's see.
Do I hear any kind of voice that might be discernible to me?
It's almost like that. Like it does. It sounds um almost like a language, like a human language. And that's what's, so creepy about it.
I'm gonna try to
Let's see. Well, you
okay.
lucked out at least. So you take another 4 points of mental damage.
Ooh.
Right, so now you're mentally down to like 3. And let's see, you can make a linguistics check. All right, this is a challenging check, so it's you need two successes.
This is a linguistics check.
Yes.
Okay. So that's an 8. Oh
Oh boy.
wow. Wait a minute.
Wait, no, your linguistics is no, you did greater than 8. So it's less than 8. So actually you didn't make any. All right, so it's definitely trying to speak to you. All right, and you you're going to still continue charging towards it.
Um Is there any way? I don't know if I could try to the my other men out from there
No, they're mentally shattered.
incapacitated.
They're incapacitated. Yeah. I mean, and
Uh,
this is only the first round of their mental incapacitation, so you're not sure how long.
but if I try,
And if they were even slightly aware of the fact that it's, using human speech, they might have been impacted a second time, just like you were.
well, I'm gonna try to hmm, maybe try to talk to him, persuade him to speak my language, or see if he understands me. I'm gonna tell him to.
It's it can all right. So it attempts to speak to you again. All right, and all right, you can make a linguistics roll.
Oh man, I did it wrong.
No, you didn't put it in yet.
Hmm?
Did you put it in? Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, less than 8. Yeah, so 12.
I
So let's
can't.
go.
I can't understand.
No, still don't get it.
Like, I'm gonna go back and see if I'm gonna
You're gonna back away. All right, so you back away from it.
to try to. Well, I want to. What I want to do is I want to get the spear and see if it will react to the spear.
All right.
Maybe say something different.
All right, so you get back to this, and you pick up the spear, and then it speaks again to you.
Did it sound like it's saying the same thing?
Yeah, it says that. Yeah, it does sound like it's trying to say the same thing. You can make another roll. Jeez.
I could use I could use one of my fortune points and
One of your
my
Yeah,
momentum.
you could use a momentum to generate one success.
Oh, okay, but I need two.
No, you only need one because it's actively trying to make you understand. It dropped down to a 1. So,
I'll use momentum.
all right. So, all right. So you use a momentum, and you think it's telling you to leave the spear.
So
So you have the spear in your hand now, and you believe it's telling you to leave the spear.
Gunnar is gonna stare down at the spear and look back at the snake, and try to throw it towards somewhere below its head.
So you're throwing the spear at it to hit it, or
Yeah, to try to hit it.
all right, all right. So you're gonna make an attack. Well, your melee combat is. Oh no, this is ranged.
Range.
So is 9.
Okay.
All right, so you throw the spear and it actually, you know, well, the first roll was a double miss.
Oh,
Yeah. So,
that was a previous roll.
no, that was the other one ahead of that.
8.
No, you had a 17 and a 12, then you had the 18 and 17.
Those were both for linguistics checks. 8.
Oh yeah, you're right. All right,
And
so yeah, you did hit it. All right, a spear. All right, so it's the spear does D4 damage. You have no bonuses because it's thrown.
spear does D4 damage.
Let me just double check, but yeah, I think that this type of spear does.
Uh,
Clubs, axes, flexible spears.
let's see.
Actually, spear does D4. It's not quite a javelin. It's heavier than a javelin. Not as much a throwing spear, so it will do D4 damage. I mean 4D damage.
Damage does. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Um, So that's on top of my plus
Yeah.
1. So
Oh, you have a
that's
+1? All right, yeah, so on top of your +1 ranged.
so so that's 2.
That's 2.
2 with effects.
Right. Um, Now a spear has piercing and piercing. The attack ignores the target's total soak for the effect rolled. All right, so it will do, well, it'll do the full 2 points of damage um, without the snake's natural toughness blocking that damage. So you ignore the soak, and its soak is actually it has no soak for that anyway. So yeah, you do 2 points of damage. All right, you can hear me, right?
Yeah.
All right. So you do 2 points of damage to it. You know, it gives it like a slight like nick into it. The snake not so much reacts to you. It looks more at the spear, which is now on the ground, and it quickly but gently picks the spear up into its mouth, and it starts to, flee off in a different direction with the spear.
Okay, I'm gonna chase after him as best as I can. My battle axe and try to hack at him, get him to stop.
No, I mean, you could try. It is hauling out of there. It didn't, it used its action to pick up the weapon and flee.
Okay, well, I'm gonna take a quick scan of the area for anything that I might want to use, but like a weapons or items. But I want to eventually try to follow the trail of the snake and see if I can follow him.
All right. All right. So you leave your still stunned men alive, behind, and you you try to follow this trail. All right, so you're going to try to use, let's see, I'm going to have to try to use some kind of a tracking ability, which would probably come under, well, either survival or observation. They're both the same score, so you know, you could do an observation roll. You need to roll under an 11. All right, and let's see what your focus is at 2. So, all right, you do follow its trail, but then you kind of lose it, and you think it went up into the trees.
Try to see if I can climb up into one of the trees and see if I can get a view maybe of where the snake might be. Once I get to the point where I realize that probably gone up into the trees.
All right, so all right, that'll be an athletic roll to try to climb a tree.
That's 12. One
All right,
success.
yeah. So you managed to climb up into the tree, and I mean, not into its upper branches, but probably about midway where the branches are still heavy enough to hold and support you. And I mean, there's just no way of chasing a constrictor snake, which is you know no matter how large it is, the fact is that they live in trees, and it's like trying to chase a squirrel across the treetops.
Okay. So once Gunnar realizes that, he's going to climb back down and I guess head back towards the Pict village.
Okay. Yeah, and you were probably on that trail for plus the climb and everything, probably about I'd say a half an hour that, probably about a half an hour that you, before you gave up on it, you decided that, all right, it's going to be futile to try to chase it down. All right, when you get back to the village, all right, none of your men are there.
Um, are there any survivors left?
Of your men?
No, no, of the,
No, there's nothing left in the village. I mean, you don't know how big the village was. It might have just been, it's not really a village, it's an encampment. So it might have even been like a temporary encampment, and they might not have had very many people here to begin with. I mean, you have no way of knowing. And now you have no signs of, like, at least initially, you have no signs of where your men might be. You don't know if they started heading back or just wandered off.
well, I'm gonna start heading back towards where we first encountered where we were first ambushed.
All right. All right, so you start heading back that way. And you get to that first encounter area, and you start to see you know you're mentally starting to get a little bit better off now, like you're not as hazy about what's going on, so you're starting to recover from all the shock and everything that you've had. All right, so and you just have like this like overwhelming desire to get back to the ship.
Okay, so I'm already headed in that direction pretty
All right.
much.
All right, so you hurriedly make your way back the way that you had come. You're no longer concerned about jungle creatures at this point. You kind of have a sense that that there's probably little chance of any picks being in the area with that monster snake running around, um, except for the ones that might be working with it. Um, you have no more thoughts of the possibility of Vanir, or even the picks of any other tribe um, running in this area. Um, you have not encountered any picks of the tribe you were supposed to see, so you're kind of assuming that they were, probably wiped out. Your only thought is to get back to your ship. All right. Hopefully your men had head that way as well. So at this point, you make a observation check. Okay.
I didn't do it yet. Hold on.
Oh, I thought it just came up with 1 6. Oh, that was
Yeah.
another one. It's weird. It kind of bumps when you, I guess, start typing.
Um,
Your
what am
observation is
I? 11.
an 11. Yeah.
Okay, there
One
we go.
success. And
3.
skill is a 2. So you do start to notice um, that the weather seems to have, taken on a pretty, a pretty bad turn. So I mean, it was cloudy and gloomy when you first started coming in here. Now, even though you're under the canopy, you can hear the trees are slashing about, and there's clearly a storm um, coming through.
Do I have time to make it to where the ship was before storm gets too bad?
uh, you're not sure yet until you get out of the jungle. I mean, it's still pretty dense, but you can hear the rainfall, and you could hear the canopy above you getting thrashed around pretty bad. You know, but you're going to continue heading your way, correct?
Yeah, I'm gonna try
All
to.
right. So when you come out of the jungle, only a few hundred yards from the shore, where the ship is anchored and the smaller longboats have been left, the sky is a raging storm. The rain is horizontal and mixed with hail. Your vision no longer hazed by the shock of the snake horror, capable of human speech, but of this disorientation of darkness, buffeting wind, and the stinging of ice shards. All right, and that pummeling of hail stones that hit like they're the size of the fists of a you know like a female-sized fist. So they're kind of like the size of you know small apples.
Tennis balls.
You know, yeah. So they're pretty heavy-sized hail coming down. You still try to make your way, you know, in the direction of the shore, where your longboats were left. All right, and what seems like an eternity, the sky then suddenly, unnaturally, rapidly begins to clear, and before you lay the wreckage of your main ship, and the longboats had been strewn across the beach like the bones tossed in a child's game. Um, so they've just been tossed around like small bones, on a hard floor. So there's several pieces of a ship, out in front of you. You could definitely see the wreckage of your ship, and you're looking at the image that is the image of you walking out onto the beach alone and with nothing but wreckage, ahead of you, at least that you know of right now.
I'm going to once I gain my bearings, and I'm going to start heading towards some of the wreckage to look inside and see if I could find anything or anyone alive or useful.
Yeah, well, yes, you do find one boat, um, one boat that is serviceable, and you find the oars from another boat, um, that you can bring over to that one. Um, the the rest of your crew and everything, I mean, you're not seeing anybody at this point. Like, you're scanning the beach, and you could see the much larger ship that you guys came off of, was anchored offshore, and you only see a piece of it sticking up out of the out of the water, and the rest of it you just see flotsam in the water, and nobody, no bodies washed ashore, nothing, just everything, desolate, and you just have this one, basically a rowboat.
Okay, well, I'm gonna take everything I have and get into the rowboat and start taking off along the coast.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, that's that's basically, the end of this adventure. And so now you and your in the rowboat, kind of at the, you know, rowing off and trying to just piece together, what exactly happened. So the experience points. So we played for roughly 3 hours. So you're going to get 75 experience points per hour. And I'll tally these up. So 75 times 3 plus, like I said, the role playing, I give 50 points for role playing. And then you had 3 momentum generating rolls. So that's another 30 points. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, 30? Yes, another 30. Now, since no one else survived, all right, at least that you know of, no one else survived, and so you didn't gain renown from this adventure. Normally, you would gain 0.20 renown for completion, but you can only regain renown if there's somebody that can know that you completed it. All right, so total is 305 experience points. Now, the way the experience points works is that if you want to, and I'll switch to the DM's portion of it, and I could read to you experience points. You can either, obviously you can bank them. So gaining experience points is on page 300. And if you're going to improve expertise from a 0 to a +1, or focus from a 0 to a +1, it would cost 200 experience points. All right, to go from a 1 to a 2 would double that, so 400 experience points. So
Oh, okay.
you could
I see.
take two um, two untrained skills and increase them by, or actually one in your case, and increase it by 1 point. The way that you can raise an attribute is 100 for every point above the current level. So let's say you have a 10 and you want to make it an 11. It would cost you 1100 experience points to take a 10 to an 11. All right.
Okay.
To take a 7 to an 8, it would cost you 800 experience points. So
It has a little chart here.
yeah,
Expertise and the
yeah,
focus.
expertise and focus, and then they talk about attribute gain. Um, acquiring talents. Acquiring talents. So if you wanted to add a new talent, um, the first one to unlock it is 200 points, and then each new one is oh no, wait, I'm sorry. The first talent in any tree costs 200 experience points. So you could add a new talent um, if you wish to as well for 200 experience points. So almost everything costs 200 experience points based on the level that they're at.
Okay.
So a 0 to a 1 costs 200, whether it be talents, focus, or expertise. Focus and expertise are done independently now. So you could raise those independently of each other.
Which ones are independent now?
Well, expertise and focus, it's not like character generation where if you put 1 point in one, automatically it went in both.
Oh,
Yeah, now it's separate.
okay.
And
Ooh, this game is really fun.
yeah, it's I mean
Uh,
you certainly did things differently than I anticipated, and that's pretty cool. Um, I wish the DM screen actually had the effects on it instead of this. So that's something that I'm going to, that's why I made my own DM screen. Um, even I use their 4 panels, but I could see a different panel that I'd rather have in there than what they used. And yeah, I think the system is more dynamic than other games.
oh yeah,
Um,
big time.
and we can get into it a little bit more as I get more comfortable with it, you get more comfortable with it, and I think that going forward, you know, the little hiccups and everything will smooth out and it'll run a lot better. Um, yeah, it kept on boggling my mind that you kept on trying to fight that snake. That snake was a freaking, it's a tough, you know, it's a tough animal to fight, especially solo. Um, I wasn't anticipating your entire party to get wiped out in that first mental attack, but
Yeah, that's.
yeah, you know, um, but hey,
I
it
should have
still
taken
worked
off.
out. Say again?
Should have just taken off with the spear. That's what Conan would have done.
Yeah, 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 no, fortunately for you, that was its intention was to get the spear off, but you don't know why or where or whatever. But that could be your next thing is probably to figure out what happened to your crew and if anybody survived it. So we have only about 30 seconds left before this, 1 hour clip of recording ends. That was another problem with this. Was that unfortunately we had two hiccups for, I guess when you switch out, it turns it off. I'd like to find a different streaming mechanism. I found that Fraps wasn't working, but anyway, Thanks a lot. The recording